Hey GIS enthusiasts! Welcome back to another ArcGIS Pro tutorial. This is part 4 of our network analysis series, where we dive into location allocation analysis, a powerful tool for optimizing facility placement and resource allocation. If you're new here, hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications because we have more ArcGIS Pro and GIS programming tutorials coming soon. Let's jump in.
In this case, we will be adding our location allocation layer, right? So when we have added this layer, so we will go to analysis, network analysis, and we'll add the location allocation layer. So after it is added, we'll have this kind of layer added here. So we have a layer for facilities, we have a layer for demand points, we have a layer for lines, and then similar as other kind of analysis, we have the barriers, we have point barriers, line barriers, and polygon barrier. So what is actually location allocation? So if you guys remember, during the first day, I explained, right? So what was location allocation? We're kind of doing a site suitability analysis. So if we have some kind of candidate location, so for take the case of opening a restaurant chain or like supermarket chain, okay? So in your area, right? So if you have some kind of demands, right? So in the case of so someone like some guy is trying to open up a supermarket or a store, right? He's trying to open a store in this area, right? So he had like actually scouted this area and found out like 10 viable options, right? So he had found out 10 viable options where he could open up a shop here, okay? And then what are the some kind of factors that determines how successful his business or how successful his store might be? So it all comes down to the suitability of customers, right? So how easy it is the customers for access and how much demand those kinds of stores have in this area. Okay. So in these kinds of analysis, we could do the location allocation problem solver. Okay. So in case he had scouted this location and he had found out 10 options or 10 viable locations in here where he could open up a shop, we could actually do some kind of analysis using the demands, right? So if we have population data, we could do such kinds of analysis here and then find out which one is the best possible option to do your location allocation analysis. Okay, so that's one thing that can be done. Okay, so that's the case of like your store. Okay, so if it's something like, so there's already some shops there. Okay, so there's already some shops in your area, and then what you need to do is if we had like extra shops, like a single shop is actually not needed there. So if he wants to abolish or demolish the current a single one from his existing chain of stores, he can do that one also. Okay, so it depends upon what kind of analysis that he actually wants to do. Okay, and all right, so I have a network data here. Like this is my streets data. Okay, and now in here I'll be doing my location allocation analysis. So I'll be going to analysis, network analysis, and I'll have location allocation layer. Okay, and in here instead of manually adding, I'll have some kind of data already stored for this area. Okay, so yeah, so first thing we'll do is we'll add the location, like so we'll have the facilities. So the right now the analysis that I'm trying to do is I have some existing stores or candidate stores. So candidate store locations are the places the owner had scouted for, that is the best options for where he could open up a shop. Okay, so those are my candidate stores. All right, so from here I want to find out the best two facilities which are possible in here. Okay, so to add the layer we have import facilities and import demand points, right? So we need to actually need your facilities like the candidate facilities. So in here we have different options. So facilities we have candidate, competitor, required, all those things. Okay, so if I already have the options here, or if already have some candidate locations, I could add them to this layer. Okay, And then I may also need to add the demand points. So for my case, the demand points might be uh, our population data. Okay, so for now, for this case, my demand point is actually population data. Okay, so based on the population demands, I need to find out which one is the best option or which one is the best location to open up a shop here. Okay, so we have import facilities and import data demand points. Okay, so import facility, I'll just click on import facility. Okay, and it's going to be added to the location allocation layer, and its sub layer is going to be added to facilities. Okay, and now I need to actually select my location shapefile or feature class. So in here I have in here I have a feature class called candidate store. So these are the actual locations where this guy has scouted for and found out the viable options where he can open up a shop. Okay. So I'll just select my input locations from here, that is candidate stores. Okay. And name is given to the name field. Okay. And then I can click on this snap to network and click on OK. So you can see my feature classes or shapefiles have been directly added or imported to the candidate stores my facilities. Okay, so all these points, right? All these points that you can see here are my viable options or this guy's viable options where he can open up his shop. Okay, so yeah, just a minute, guys. Digitization, right? So instead, I already have the data for these kinds of layers, so I'll be adding my candidate points of these locations. Okay, so if I added the candidate points, next I'll need to add my demand points. Okay, so I'll click on import demand points. So it's going to be added to the location allocation layer to the demand point sublayer. So input location will be my tracks and roads. Okay, this is the data that I have already added. So if you come over here, you can see that it's already added in my contents. So that's why it's shown here. Okay, so if you don't, if you haven't added it to your contents, you can just scroll the browse and then find out the data where you have saved it. Okay, so if you had added them to the contents already, you will have them in this drop down. So that is tracks and roads. Okay, and the next you have to set the property. Okay, so now right now the name will be name. Okay, and then if you go to weight, the weight field I'll have to set my population 2000. Okay, so this is the field of my shape points like in the demand like tracks and roads shape file. So this is the field that contains the population data of each area. Okay, so I'll have to set my weight as population 2000. Okay, so if that is done, you can just click on set snap to network and then click OK. So after that is done, you can see that my demand points have been added, my facilities has been added. Okay, now what's next is for me to find out the best possible locations from this store, right? So from these candidate stores, I need to find out which is the best possible site analysis to open up a shop. Okay, so you could have the mode is driving time. Okay, so I'll set the drive time and I'll set the direction as towards facilities, right? So the people are coming from the demand points towards my facility, so towards my shops, right? So if I'm opening up stores here or shops here, people are supposed to come into the shop, right? So I'll set the direction as towards facilities. Okay, and so maybe I'll just try the cost. Yeah, it's in travel time only. Okay. So then I can set up a cutoff. Okay. So I can set up a cutoff of 10 minutes time. So no, like those people doesn't like to travel more than 10 minutes to their favorite shop or store. Okay. So I can set up a cutoff here. And then I need to find out. So if this guy's store, if this guy want to open up three shops. Okay. So in this so from all these candidates or viable options he has, he needs to actually find out or he needs to actually open up three shops here. Okay, so we need the three facilities here. Okay, so cutoff is 10 minutes driving time and the direction is towards facilities. And then what you need to do is you will need to here in here we'll have to set up the maximize attendance. Okay, so this is so if you set your markers or your cursors over here, you can see. So this is the option that solves the neighborhood store location problem. Okay. So where the proportion of demand points allocated to the nearest stores and facility falls within increasing distance. Okay. So as the distance increases, the probability of people going to that store also decreases. The set of facilities that maximize the total allocated demand is chosen. So demands further than specified impedance cutoff does not affect the chosen set of facilities. So outside the cutoff. So if it's outside the 10 minutes traveling time, then down those points are not taken as the weight, right? So that's the maximized attendance. So also if you have if you have setting up other. So maximize coverage. This option solves the fire station location problems, right? So it chooses facilities such as or greatest amount of demand is within a specified impedance cutoff. So for finding out analysis such as setting up the best possible location for fire stations, right? So fire station is something like we don't do or we don't look at the population data for setting up a fire station. It's mostly based on the serviceable area, right? So which all areas are serviceable by a fire station. So that's the kind of problem we do, what the kind of analysis we do for choosing a fire station location. So all those things we can do the maximus coverage, right? So all these have this a similar kind of problems, right? So minimize weighted impedance is for the warehouse location problem, right? So it's all based upon probability, right? So we cannot actually choose these people will go over here. It's all based on a different kinds of probability analysis. So when we're doing some functions like the warehouse choosing problem, we do the probability analysis of minimized weight impedance. When we are trying for a fire station location problem, we can choose the maximize coverage. And when we are doing for something like fire station, we can maximize coverage and minimize facilities. So all those things. So when we are doing for finding the market share, so how much percentage market share we have, all those things. So we can do the target market share. So all those things we can need to do. Okay. So right now we are choosing for a problem such as store location. So we need to actually find out the best possible option to find out a store. So all these things comes under some mathematical problem, like so mathematical solutions, all these things. So if you are actually talented in mathematics and probability, you could just check over this. So right now we need to know that when we're doing some kind of demand points. So using the demand points, maximize attendance of demand points, we can use this maximize attendance method. So when you are doing for location, so if you want the store more location which the facility covers, we can use the maximize coverage kind of analysis. So right now I'm doing the store analysis, right? So I can just click on the type is maximize attendance. Okay. So after that is done, I can just click on run here. So from all these points, all these locations, three facilities were chosen because I gave the facilities three. So which were the three options? Were this one, and this one. Okay. So if you choose over here from your facilities, all the candidate stores were added to this layer, the candidates layer, right? So from all these candidate layers, three facilities were chosen for the best site, and those three have been added to your chosen facilities layer. Okay. So out of all these points or out of all these candidate stores, the network analysis module has found out that these three stores as the best possible location to open up your store. Okay, so if you have opening up stores in these three locations, this one has the most probability, right? So these three stores has the most probability of people coming in and then boosting out your business. Okay, so that is the first kind of method. Okay, so this is the first basic kind of thing, right? So this guy does not have any kind of stores, so he's only trying to find out the best possible locations in here. Okay, so what if he already has a shop opened here? Okay, so in this place he already has a shop open, so it's trying to expand the. Okay, so we cannot do the same analysis because this thing considers that there is no other kinds of there is no other businesses open here. Okay, so this thing is trying to find out the best possible location where there is no other shops. Okay, if he had already a shop some open somewhere here and he needs to find out the best possible stores to expand his business, so that's the another kind of analysis. Okay, So for that, we'll need to actually add our required class. Okay. So if you want to do something like that, I'll have to click on import facilities again. Okay. And then I'll need to choose the location of where he already has a store. Okay. So I have a layer here, or I have a shapefile here, which explains or which has the locations of his already existing store. Okay. So I can click on there. Okay. And then I'll need to set up to which facility I'll need or which facility type I need to add. So if I just click OK now, it will go over to my candidate store. But this is not a candidate store. This is a required. Oh, this is something like existing store. So these should be added to the required layer. Okay. So name is given name, and in the facility type. So in the facility type, if you click on facility type, in the facility type, you'll have to change the default value to required. Okay, so we're trying to add the existing store location to my required field. Okay, so we are doing the second kind of analysis, which is something like we are trying to expand his stores. So he already has a store, that is the existing stores location. So I want to add this to my required, and then I'll be doing the existing store. We'll be considering the existing store, and then we're trying to do the expanding business option. Okay, so I'll just click OK, and that layer will be added to my required. Okay, so if you see over here, he already has a business here, which is a this store. Okay, so he already has a store in here. Okay, but if you're doing the analysis, all these people in here in this location are moving to his store here. But that's not actually needed because all the people here should be going to his existing store that is over there, and then he should be looking at business options where that is not near to his existing store, because all these people that is near here this place should be going to his already existing store that is over there. So we are looking at expanding option which should be a different area from this store here. Okay, so for doing that, we'll after we have added the required store. So it's already required here. Okay. So he already has a store here, and then he needs to add two more. Okay. Two more. So total his facilities should be store should be three. Okay. So including his required, he only needs to find out three. Okay. So if I am trying to giving three here, he already has a store here, and then two new stores will be found out from this location. Okay, so I have added the required field, I have added the candidate field, and I'll give the same options here. Driving time, it is toward facilities, cutoff will be 10 minutes, right? And maybe I'll give the facilities as 3. Okay, so he'll be finding out two new stores. Okay, so when I'm giving 3 here, one existing is already here, so it will be finding out two new stores here. Okay, and the same type is the same because it's taking store location problem. So the problem here is maximize attendance. Okay, now if I'm running it here, yeah, so now you are seeing the stores has changed, right? So all these people over here will go over to his already existing store, that is this one. Okay, and then he needs to find out two new locations. So he want to expand two locations where he need to open a shop. So this has, or this network module has I find out that these two locations will be the better option to expand his business because all these people here will already be going to this store here. So these two locations will be the best option regarding to how many people lives in this area. Okay, so that is the expanding option. So the first option we just only added the candidates, and then it will do the analysis. And if I'm adding the required, so required is already existing source he has. So if you are adding the required layer, then it will find out two new possible. Okay, so just make sure the number 3 should be the total value. So if you need to actually find out 3 new stores, then you will need to give out 4 here because it will be considering your already existing location also. Okay, so that is the next kind of analysis that we are doing, so which is finding out two new locations from a already existing data. Okay, we need to find out how much market share he has regarding to his competitors. Okay, so in this location, he doesn't have the location of any of his competitors here. He only has his own stores and the location candidate stores where he wants to open up his store. Okay, so if he has his competitors, we can add them to this competitor layer. Okay, so if I click on import facilities, okay, I'll have a location of feature class here which is called competitor store. So those competitor stores should be added to my competitor layer. Okay, so name, facility type, I'll be adding them to competitor. Okay, if that is done, I can click on OK, and these competitors locations will be added here. Okay, so in this area, he has three competitor stores, right? So these stores are of his nemesis or someone else, right? So he has competing stores, these three, and he has already existing store this one. Okay, so regarding this one, he can actually find it. So if he has three options here, right? So he has one store that is already there, and he has two new stores added here. Okay, so these three stores compared to his competition, we can find out uh, how much this one, how much market share he has. Okay, so for that we'll be changing the type. Okay, so everything is same. Driving time towards facilities 10 minutes and three facilities, right? So three facilities including his already existing store and two new stores. So comparing these three with this competition, like the competing stores, we can find out how much market share this guy has compared to your competitors. Okay. So for that, I'll come over here, change the type to target market share. No, it was maximize market share. Okay. So I'll set this to maximize market share, and the cost here should be given as power and value can be given as 2. Okay, so this thing is like we won't actually know what kind of this thing is to be done. Okay, so linear will be doing it's all comes to our probability kind of equation. So if we know what we can need to do from here, we can choose this option. All right, so if not, this is a default. Okay, give the power and then beta power is 2. That is a default option for doing our the market share analysis. Okay, so if you don't know what you're doing, you can just give it the default one. But if you are actually an expert in the probability analysis and mathematical probabilitical part, then you can change out the exponential, you can change out the exponential, you can change out the beta value and all. But since we don't have much idea about what kind of probability analysis that goes on in the background, we can give out the default value, which is the cost is power and the beta value is 2. Okay, so the market share is maximize market share, and I'll be running this now. So if I'm running this, so there's options found out by your point. So there's a your stores and then competitor stores, and if you go over to solve and messages, we can see. So the market share attained, right? So the market share of all this area, what you have attained with your three stores, 55 point, yeah, so 55.34%, right? 55.35%. So out of all the stores, out of these three stores you have, and what all, and comparing with the three competition stores, you found out that the market share that you have over this area is 55%. So you're kind of obtaining 55% of 55.34% of market share on this area. All right. So that is market share. Okay. And another kind of analysis that you can do is you can do target market share. Okay. So if you want to, so if you only have your market share as 55, right? So if you actually want 70 market share in here, right? So I can give my market share, I can set the type as target market share. Okay, so I want to achieve 70% market share. So in here, we cannot find out or we cannot choose the number of facilities, right? So this thing will choose how many facilities and where all I should open up my shop so that I can attain 70% market share. You guys following me? So in this kind of analysis, target market share, what this thing will do is we're going to actually attain 70% market share in this area. So what this analysis will tell us is to attain your 70% market share, it will tell us how many stores in how many locations we need to open up. Okay. So the probability should be same as power and beta is 2. Now if I'm running this, yeah. So what does it tell me? It tells me that I need to open up. So if I'm going to also here messages, so the market share that I achieved right now is 71.26 percentage. So which means if I open up my already existing store is here one, two, three, four, and five stores. So if I open up stores, five stores in this location, I can achieve 70% market share of this area alone. Okay. So those are so are you guys following me this? So to find out, so to have 70% market share, I need to find out, I need to open up shows in these shops in these locations and this much number. So one, two, three, four, five. I need to open up five shops in these areas so that I can achieve 70% market share of this area, right? So this is a location allocation analysis. So we can find out which is the best candidate location to find open up your shop regarding if it's only your candidate stores and if you already have stores there and you need to find out which one is the best possible location to expand your location. We can add your data or already existing store to your required and run it again. And if you have competitors, we can actually find out which is the how much target market share we have even compared with the competitors. Next thing we can do is we can find out we can find out like we can have a probability discussion on if you want to achieve this much market share, we need to find out or we need to build up this much shops or we need to open up this many shops in this many locations. Okay, so these are the applications of your location allocation analysis. Is this clear?